This time the quick speed shop, check it out. Bam! See that AMC Eagle there? That's the first car I ever bought. I've owned it coming up on 30 years here, within a couple months of 30 years. It's been down in storage jail in the pole barn. I gotta move it to put some engines behind it. You see it here in the driveway. I must have got it running, but man, was it a struggle. The mice have destroyed the inside of it. It's got fuel leaks, it's got rust, but it's still an awesome car. Let's go down to the pole barn. We'll see where it was, how long it took to dig it out. Maybe we'll fire it up and drive it up here and see what it sounds like. Look at that, bam. Thing has been sitting for 16 years, and you're gonna see it run and drive here in a minute. In a pole barn, I got the AMC Eagle. Now I've been battling mice. I've gone for several years without having mice in this barn. And then I started getting a problem, and I've been trapping them with a live trap and taking them away. And they were living on the hood of my car on top of the sheet. I saw mouse droppings. I've trapped 5 of them already. You can see one of the traps over there. And I take them away a couple miles away and let them go free to feed foxes or whatever. And trying to get them out of here. I've got some ultrasonic noisemakers in here now that plug into the outlets. I'm trying to see if I can dissuade them from living in here. I have those in my red garage and they seem to work pretty good. And I must have taken one of the mother mice away, because I just came in here just now into the pole barn and we've got a dead baby mouse on the ground here. So that's unfortunate for him, but I cannot have mice destroying these cars. Like I got this yellow 37 Buick, my dad's car. They were getting in here. They had a mouse nest in the frame. I had seen some droppings on the seat and on the floor. This car's got a full interior in it. I can't have them destroying that. My 37 Ford, the 40 Mercury sedan here has got a full interior in it. I got some seats stored in here. I cannot have mice destroying things. And I don't want to kill them or disrupt their action, but they cannot, I repeat, cannot live in my pole barn and destroy all my cars. That's no good. Do not destroy my cars. That's a threat to the mice. If you can hear me, do not destroy my cars. So I'm battling them. It's a disaster. I know that they're in my Eagle. I saw they ate a hole in the headliner, and they're living up in the headliner. Hopefully I've trapped most of them or all of them. I don't know how the mice are getting in here. The door seals are tight, pretty tight. They probably can sneak it around the bottom of the doors. Now that I look, there's like fly debris. I don't know. It's so hard. I'm near fields that they plant like soybeans and corn and stuff in, so there's endless amount of food supply for mice to live in. So it's hard to keep them out. Like I said, I went several years. I didn't see any evidence, but now they're in here, and I caught like 4 or 5 of them already, and now that one over there is dead. So I'm going to keep battling that. It's a disaster. To air up the left front tire here. I put the car in neutral. The car is a 5-speed, which is kind of rare. And maybe I can get it to roll. If not, I can try to start it, but I prefer to try to start it outside. Oh, why the brakes stuck? Oh man. Oh, they're just probably all flat spotted. Oh boy. Yeah. Let me I could try to put a battery in it. It's probably right out of gas. I'd put some gas in it. It might start. I got the deep cycle over here. I drove it in here. So will it start? Oh, not another will it start video. The hood light works. Let's see what we get. Oh, forgot the door handle's broke on this side. Hold on a minute. Aha. Hopefully I don't get attacked by mutant mice in here. There's a clutch. Oh, clutch works. Woo! I had just a little bit of gas in the thing. Bang. It's probably out of gas. I'm gonna guess. Let me go get the tractor, I guess, and try to, I don't have anything I really don't want to have a fire in the pole barn here. I don't think I got any gas just to give a little splash in the carburetor. It would fire immediately with that, but the tank could be bone dry. A little mixed gas here. They'll be good because I'll have a little bit of oil in it to help lubricate the engine since it hasn't run for a while. And I think I can put like a gallon in it. I thought I had a little bit of gas in here, non-ethanol gas in here for storage, but so I could start it. But apparently I didn't. So I'm just going to put like a gallon in the tank. Oops. We'll give her a little splash action there. You guys watch him back here and see if it catches on fire. Oh. Dang it. Well, that's the end of that. Well, I did it. I got it running. Hold on. I see something dripping. It's running right now. You see it here, but it looks like the fuel pump is leaking. Hold on a second. Let me shut her off. It looks like the fuel pump might have rusted through and it's leaking. Yeah, I see fuel dripping off the bottom of it. It looks pretty rusty. We got her going here. I had to knock on a nail and seat, change the battery. This is my 1984 AMC Eagle that, where'd my window trim go? It's my original high school car that I started driving in 1995. My mom bought it in 1992 from the original owners. It's an 84 DL Eagle. I named it the Eagle X with Comanche X badges because it had, back in the day, I had done a whole host of custom modifications to this car. Starting with, it used to have a homemade brush guard that was on the front, which I cut off because it got rusty. It's got a front original AMC accessory skid plate on the front. I lifted the suspension with inch custom CNC machine ball joint spacers in the front. I put lift blocks in the back. I had worked on a rust repair quite a while on this thing. I cut the rockers right off and made them out of tubing. And I drove this car for over 100,000 miles in the salt with no fluid film and pretty much ruined it. I had to replace the front frame rails in 2002 or 3. I replaced them with 2x2 square tubing. And you can see back here I need to redo the back half where I tied into the original framework is rusty. It needs rust repair, that's why I took it off the road. Believe it or not, this car has been off the road since 2009. And I painted it in like 2003 with a gallon of 2C slate blue enamel with a $13 Big Lots pressure pot spray gun. I put the power bulge hood on it, painted it all blue. You don't look bad for my first paint job with a $13 paint gun almost 20 years later. It doesn't look bad. If I'm going to be honest, I painted right over the pinstripe and everything. But in the back here is my rear brush guard I made for it. That my dad powder coated about 15 years ago. It's starting to rust through the powder coat now, but I had made a rear deal there with a hitch. Right now I got some 30-inch tires or 31-inch tires on it that are too big for it on cop car wheels, but it's pretty awesome. Look, it's got so rusty that the windshield wiper rusted through. It's been sitting since 2009. I had sandblasted these doors and tried painting them years ago, and they rusted through from the inside. This door's got holes in it. That door's got holes under it. I've got another set of doors that are better. The fenders have rusted out in the front up here. I got more frame rail rust I've got to fix in the back. Door handles broke like all AMCs are. This one, I've hung a smattering of gauges all over it. My original little mini tack, Sunpro mini tack I put on there, I think I bought that at like Pep Boys or Vance Auto Parts. I got electric oil pressure gauge I put in it, a VDO gauge that works. That's where the factory tack would go if you had the gauge package. I had a factory tack in it for a while, it didn't work. I switched it over to full-time, or shift on the fly with an 85 and up vacuum thing. I put intermittent wipers in it, which it didn't have. This car did have a factory rear defrost, no rear wiper. I have a rear wiper hatch on it, but I don't have any way to operate the switch. No, I don't have a rear wiper. Yeah, I do have a rear wiper. I had the switch for a rear wiper somewhere. I must have had an auxiliary. Oh, here it is. I put an auxiliary switch to run the rear wiper over here, which if you had a factory rear wiper would have been next to the defrost, which I don't have. This car was just a DL, manual crank windows. I found a broken console in the junkyard in an 83 wagon that had a gauge package, so I put it in here and actually broke it more years later by accident. But I cut the hole out in it for CB, which worked last time I tried. I got a vacuum gauge. The only option this car really had was a tilt column. That's factory. I put in the sport wheel out of the 83 wagon that I use for parts. I got front and rear fog light switches down here. I put this Jensen radio in. I bought at Kmart, I believe, way back in the day, probably 1997 or 6 or 7. That's the first thing I did to the car. I've got some, these aren't the original hubcaps. They had the earlier style hubcaps on it when it came. This is one of the original wheels, I think. I've got a bunch of garbage in here, and the mice are getting in it. I took the interior out of it to try to save it from mice. You can see back there, a mice has come out of the headliner. I must have taken it to a car show in 1996, because there's that. But this car has 203,838 miles on it. That's the original mileage to this car, original engine. It's on its third transmission. You see there, 5-speed. This car is a T5 car originally, and I broke the original T5. I put another T5 in it, and I ran it out of oil by accident and blew that up. So right now it has a T4 in it, so it doesn't have overdrive right now. It's got a T4 out of a CJ. But if you look down here, you're like, what is this? My friend Jim and I were into Eagles way back in the day. We put Jeep transfer cases in them. So this car has this has a 1984 229 case in it. So it's the same as the 129 case that would have been in this car originally, with just 2 high and 4 high full time. This one has 2 high, 4 high full time, and it's got 4 low lock. And we used the Jeep lever, and we did the transfer case modification, put the Jeep transfer case in it. So this Eagle has low range, just like a regular full-size Jeep. 2 high, 4 high full time, which you can run on pavement, in rain or whatever, and then it's got 4 low. So it's a wheeling machine. And I did one more big mod to it here in the back. I had taken the original, this car is 273s because of the standard transmission. I'd taken the original rear end out, and I found a Dodge Magnum, a 77 or 8 or 9 Dodge Magnum rear axle. It's a 9 1/4 housing. It's got a 272 sure grip in it, and I welded on some shock mounts with a stick welder of all things. It's got the huge 10.5 or 11.5 inch brakes, which when you hit the brakes, will lock the rear wheels up because it's not proportioned correctly. But it's got this huge 9 1/4 inch ring gear monster rear end I swapped into it for whatever reason I did that for, because I took the little rear end out of it because I was afraid I was going to break it wheeling. Original leaf spring, the leaf springs are out of another 83 wagon, and I put lift blocks on it so it's picked up. I took the flares off to get some more clearance. The lower quarters are rotted, so I cut them off. The rockers are gone. It needs work. The doors are unfortunately have rotted through, but like I said, I have another set of doors for it. So it is original 2C slate 2D dark blue on the bottom. That's the original flares up there, which I raised, but it needs work. It's rough. Unfortunately, the rust hasn't stopped since it's been sitting around. It's just been slowly deteriorating, kind of like the Titanic. Eventually, someday, I'm gonna restore it someday. I'm one of those guys. Yeah, that front of that rocker wasn't loose like that and stuff. The doors weren't all rotted through when I parked it and stuff like that. It's got worse. It sits inside, but the salt is in it, and the salt is slowly eating at it. It's another will it start, will it run? Abandoned for years. Let's see, when did I put the floor in my pole barn? 2018? No, 2020. So it wasn't out so it's been sitting for 4 years, but like I said, last time it was registered was 2009, and I think the last time I drove it on the road was 2008. So it's almost 2025 now. It's November or October 2024. Yeah, it's 16 years it hasn't been driven on the road. Man, I don't believe it. That's what happens. I'm going to restore it someday. I'm one of those guys. But I've had that car, like I said, my mom got it in 1992. So that was 42 years ago. No, 32 years ago. And I've had it since 95, so that will be 30 years coming up this year. I've had that car for 30 years coming up this year. I don't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun. But I would like to restore it someday. It needs to be sandblasted all underneath, have everything, completely redone, swap the doors, repaint it, redo the interior. I have the original seats there in the basement of the house to keep mice out of them, out of the pole barn. You see I have mice in the car, which now I'm going to have to battle. But that's why I pulled the interior out of it. And someday I'll get to it, put it back on the road. That'll be a retirement project. But for now, it's up and running around. And I'll move those engines down there. I'll put them away and push that guy back into deep storage once again. But the old 84 AMC Eagle X is running. You've seen it. Bam. Will it run? Will it start? Absolutely. AMC's always run, no matter how long they sit. You get some gas and spark to them, boom, they're running. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hopefully I'll have this mess cleared out. I'll have this car out there, You saw I went and had the truck cab from the sandblaster. I'll talk about that in the next video. I had it blasted. Spoiler alert, it's way worse than I thought it was. But what are you going to do? Anyways, we'll see you next time. Bam, here at the Quick Speed Shop.